thing that I'm most interested in is, when did you kind of get your sights set on the Paralympics? Because I read somewhere that in college you didn't even like running, and in Tokyo you competed in the 100-meter dash.
Yeah, so I mean, when I lost my leg, I was very fortunate enough to have a lot of support from Boston Marathon survivors, different amputees. And that's when I started learning about the Paralympics and maybe that this is something I could do. Obviously, I wanted to focus on lacrosse and finish up my college career. But when I graduated, I didn't want to hang up my athletic career just yet. And someone from the U.S. Paralympic track and field world reached out to me, asked me if I've ever thought about running. And yes, that is a true fact about me. I hated running. I hated run tests, everything to do with it. But I thought this would be an incredible opportunity to represent my country and to see if this is something I could make a career out of.
How did you find that passion for running after really not liking it for so many years?
I think I just misunderstood it, growing up. I think just the mental and physical aspect of the entire thing was something that I really enjoyed. And there were so many things that I could take out of lacrosse and put it into track and field just mentally. But the thing that I had to adjust the most with was having it be an individual sport. Growing up, I was always part of a team sport. So having all the pressure be on me was something that I had to learn. It was a really uncomfortable feeling. But I think just realizing that I'm not running for, 2 hours my entire practice. I'm doing one stride and then kind of getting my breath and then doing another one so that I can do the best that I can. I think it made it okay. I'm not a long distance runner still. I can only do about 100 meters and that's it.
I love that you bring up the fact that it's really different playing an individual sport versus a team sport. Both my co-host Annabelle Hasselback and I were athletes in college, and we both played on team sports. And the motivation that you get from your teammates is really unlike any other. So how did you find that self-motivation to go after this?
Yeah, I mean, playing lacrosse, Division I lacrosse, I had my teammates and coaches behind me every step of the way, and just kind of building that community just really made me believe in myself when I was having my toughest days where I wanted to quit. I credit everything I'm doing now to them because I went through my hardest times with them. So now when I'm having a tough day of practice and I'm by myself, I can just think back to, I'm doing it for all the people that believe in me, the people that don't believe in themselves, so that I can sort of pave a way. But yeah, I have to credit them because in the beginning, the first, couple months, I was struggling. I was falling every single day in practice. I couldn't catch a ball with my stick. And they were just the ones that, never let me use my amputation as an excuse or a reason to give up.
Teammates are truly the best, and they will support you for the rest of your life, which is something that I'm always so grateful for. What was the
Absolutely.
training process? What was that training process like for you when you did set your sights on this 100-meter dash for the Paralympics? What is the process like to become? I mean, you literally broke the American record in the 100 meters. Let's just make sure everybody knows that, first of all. So what's that process like to become world class at that event?
Yeah, I mean, it's just showing up every single day and trying to be better than you were yesterday. This year, I actually moved out to California for training because on top of the 100-meter, I'm also doing the long jump. And I needed a long jump coach. I needed to learn how to do it because we jump off our prosthetic blades. But I think just going into every single practice, just willing to learn, willing to be coachable is a huge part about it. And, running technique is something that I never learned because I grew up with a lacrosse stick in my hand. I never really understood what running form was until I showed up at my first practice with my coach in Boston. And he humbled me very quickly because he just told me that I do not look like an athlete and what am I doing with my arm. So these past 5 years, I've just been trying to perfect that every way I can, and there's still things that I'm trying to get better at in every single day. And people might think, you're just running in a straight line. Like, how hard could it be? There are so many different things. Your technique with your just form, staying relaxed, relaxing your face, making sure that you're striking the ground at a certain angle and not overstretching your stride. And these are all the things that I'm learning this year. So it's been an incredible process, but also a tiring one. But I just know that my hard work will pay off in the end.
What was the moment that you realized that you could be competitive on an international level?
It was honestly my first ever international competition. It was in 2019 at the World Championships in Dubai. I honestly just showed up just excited to represent the United States, excited to have a Team USA uniform. And when I crossed the finish line, I placed fourth in the world and I broke the American record. And I didn't even know what the American record was before that point. It wasn't something that I was working towards. I was honestly just trying to show up and do as best as I can. And that's really when I thought to myself, okay, maybe this is something that I can continue to do and get better at, because this is, my first international competition. It was probably like my fourth time competing ever. And so that was really the moment where I said, all right, now we can have our sights set on the Paralympic Games and hopefully bring home a medal.
So you went to Tokyo, which I'm sure was an incredible experience, but also kind of strange because there were no fans there. It was just kind of a weird time. But something that I love that you mentioned also about 2019 was you got to wear USA for the first time. So what was that experience like in Tokyo, kind of being there at such a weird time, but also getting this opportunity to represent your country and wear one of those, like, truly, they're sweet. Like the USA track unis, they're sweet. So what was that experience like for you?
It was incredible. Obviously, like you said, with COVID and not having our family members there, it was kind of like an asterisk because, there were so many things that we were missing out on. But I think showing up and getting all that Team USA gear from Nike and Ralph Lauren, and it really just puts things, it makes it real for you because you're on the biggest stage of your life. So I just told myself to go out there. Luckily, the seat colors were all different in Tokyo, so it kind of looked like it was a packed stadium. And I just told myself, you have this incredible uniform. You have, the United States across your chest. Just go out and make your country proud, make your family proud, and just have fun with it. Tokyo was probably the sixth or seventh time I competed ever, so I knew going into it that it was going to be very challenging to come home with a medal because all my other competitors have been doing a lot longer than I have. And, placing sixth in the world in Tokyo and breaking my own American record was extremely special, and I'm very proud of myself. But I told myself coming home that when Paris 2024 comes around, I want to be fighting for a medal. I want to be in medal contention and be a different breed of an athlete.
All right, before we move on here, I got to ask you about the gear because I'm obsessed with gear, and you said you got like some sweet stuff in your bag. So what was the coolest piece that you got in Tokyo? And what's something that you're maybe hoping to get actually in Paris?
Yeah, I mean, I think the coolest part in Tokyo was it was the first time that Skims by Kim Kardashian had ever been a part of the games. So we got like a Skims collection, and I was so excited for it. But when I came home, my fiance actually stole my bathrobe, so that's his bathrobe. It's not mine. But I also have to give a shout out to Ralph Lauren, the opening ceremony jackets. I still wear that, for speaking engagements and things like that. Going into Paris, I mean, it's incredible because we get to kind of watch all the Olympians go first, and we get to see what's going to be in our kits. I think the most excited thing is, just all the Nike gear, obviously, because it's really cool, and having the Team USA all over your chest, that's all you wear. But again, the Skims is really cool. We get a Samsung phone. But I'm hearing these chocolate muffins are like to die for in the Olympic Village, Paralympic Village. So I guess that might be the thing I'm most excited for when I'm done competing. I have to go and get a chocolate muffin.
I've seen the TikToks of the chocolate muffins. If you get some, bring some back. I want to try some. Also, I see the USA nails that you have going on. They look awesome.
Yeah, I just got them done actually this morning. So yeah, shout out to Renee at Iridessa for hooking me up.
No, those look great. And something that you mentioned earlier is that you've picked up the long jump, and you're going to be competing in that event as well in Paris. And it's an event that you actually really have a good shot at medaling in. So I'm curious, how did you realize that you had the potential to be really good at the long jump? And what was the training process like to become world class at it?
Yeah, I have my coach in California. He was reaching out to me. He's an incredible Paralympic coach. Trains all these different athletes. Also trains a few Olympians as well. So he was telling me because he knew how fast I was in the 100. He was like, if you can bring that speed into long jump, I can get you jumping over 5 meters easily. And jumping over 5 meters in my classification group, there's only before me, there's only been 3 other above knee amputees to ever do it. So going in, I told him, I don't want to do this unless I can jump 5 meters, because I want to create a name for myself. So starting in January of this year, and moving out to California, my first long jump practice ever, it was definitely a humbling experience and definitely a learning curve.